Hey guys, we are running a little late today. We're going to get this up, and while I'm setting all of this up, we shall get to it. So, let's just bear with me a couple of minutes, guys, till I get all the tags set up and all the rest of it. This is what I normally do in the 15 minutes previous to doing this, where I basically set everything up and we'll quickly do this and then we shall be getting into it. Now the problem today is with the rotate vector around axis, okay, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at, and what I'm going to show you is the problem. Now probably we won't work on this too long, because otherwise it would just be basically looking at blueprints, or sorry, looking at Google to see what it says, and from what I've seen up till now, that ain't going to help us, or at least we're getting different answers, right? And I'll show you what I mean by that. So we're going to do one more thing. Just bear with me 1 second again, sorry about this. Then we shall get on. Right. Nearly there. And that'll do for now. Okay, so what we're looking at is this is the rotate vector. Okay, now what we're doing is we're printing out this string, and we're going to print it out in its blue. Okay, now if we look at the code, right, this is the first one and this is what we're doing. Okay, so what we're doing is printing out this temp vector. We're doing rotate angle axis, and we're calculating this, which relates directly to this part here. Okay, then we're getting this vector. So the blue one is from the blueprints, and the yellow one is from our C++. So if we start it, you can see there that they are exactly the same. Well, that's not what I expected, I've got to say. Okay, that's fine. So we're getting the same values, so our C++ is correct. Okay, let's stop that and let's move to the next one. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll plug this in here. Okay, and this is the bottom vector. Okay, and we'll go into our C++. We shall do that. Then we'll change this to bottom. Now, we did check all this last night, but the difference is now that we are printing it out rather than doing a print string. Okay, so the code for that is gengine dash greater than add on-screen debug message. Then this is default. This is the time to print it out. This is the color, and this is the string. Okay, so we're going to do vector bottom, and we're going to check vector bottom. Okay, so we're going to have to build this. And this morning I was not getting that answer here, this answer. Right, so I don't know what's happened. That is completely weird. Right, so we've got to wait on this to compile, and there we go. So now we should get two vectors again that are the same. As you can see, they are, which is good. So what that means to us is that this vector's good and this vector's good. Okay? Now our next port of call is probably to do this one, the lerp one. Okay, and check that these two are the same. Okay, so we basically take that one out and we put this one back in. So as you can see, I have been working on this morning. So we're getting our lerp. The next thing we're going to check out is our alpha. We'll check that out in a second. Okay. But I think we have checked that out before and it was absolutely fine. So we'll check this lerp one coming out. Now obviously you don't need to do any of this if everything, you're getting the same value straight away. So if it's a simple calculation, then probably you'll not need to do all of this checking, but it appears at the moment that we're not getting the same values, so we're having to do a bit of checking. And you can see here that our lerp is different. Okay, so our blue is gradually changing and our red is not. So where in fact is the difference? Now remember, we're checking the lerp, okay? So the next question is it the alpha? Okay. So we're going to have to check this. So we're going to print this out. Then we're going to go back to our code. And we're not going to do that. Right? We're going to do alpha. Right? And I think it's, what is it? F string how do you convert? Can't remember how to do this. It's float to string, right? So I'm just going to quickly Google this. This is where it becomes, as I said, it's a matter of just knowing, having used C++ up till now. That's sanitized float. Yeah, I've used that before. Okay, so we can build that. Take a look. Okay. So now we can press play. Blue is 0.77. Ours is 20. Well, that's bizarre. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to compile this in here. Alright, if we compile it here, it might actually make a difference. I'm not 100% sure on this, but it might. We can give it a go. Okay, so we have a different value. Okay, it should be 0.77, it's not. Right. So things that were happening, and I'm sure I checked this last night. Okay. So the only way to do this is to plug that in there, right? And then in here, this alpha, we'll change that to northern latitude. We'll make sure that that is what we're getting. Okay. We'll compile that again. Make sure that we're getting the right value out. Then we'll move it to this one. Then we'll move it to this one. Right? And we'll see what this is. Okay, compile complete. So we can press play. Right. So both these are, that's fine. Okay. So that number is fine. Then we do this number, which is going to be fine as well because we just divide it by 90. Right. And the way we're working it out is up here. Now, I'm wondering here if we just say I'm wondering if there's another version of this that we absolutely want. Wait a minute. Was this divided by 90? Oh my lordy loo. That was divided by 90. Well, that just proves to you something, that I'm a bloomin' idiot. Right, so if we do alpha again, save it, compile it, and put this back up here, put this back here. So many little mistakes, but this is it, getting back into C++, and you're worried about what the syntax is, and then you forget to actually do the calculations properly. Them's the breaks. Right, so we've gradually fixed this all up. I hope. And then once we're happy with this, we're going to join that back to there because we're getting the absolute now. We're not doing it as two separate calculations now, so we can go with this. It does take a while to compile. I'm going to do Unreal Engine 4 C++ compile slow. Alright, there's a few tips here that we can speed it up, I believe. These might be for offline while we're doing this, but we want to press play in the meantime. And voila, we're getting the right number now. Thank goodness for that. Right, apparently everybody's basically saying, no, you can't really make it any faster. So there's that. Right, so now we're coming out the lerp. Okay. So we can now check the value coming out the lerp. Right, which is basically this. Tell you what we'll do, we'll leave that sanitizing so we don't forget that. And we can use it later. Right. I will clean this up at the end, but... So we do that. Then we take that out. And compile. It does take a while, guys, but this is them's the breaks. Right. We're getting the same value again, which is great. And the final part of the process is this rotation. Right. I don't know if we can do this to string, but we can do this two different ways here. This is doing my nut in. Right, where were we? We're in here. Right, so we're doing that rotator. And back to C++. And I wonder if temp rot. Yep, that works. So all we need to do Let's copy that into there. Okay. Compile that. Right, so is this going to work for us? Right, play. We are getting the same values. I don't know where this is coming from. SEU, no, it's not free. And we're waiting on approval from Kickstarter to get it on Kickstarter. You can actually look at the thing above in Kickstarter. So basically now I can take this right through. We don't do the print string. We're going to save this. Right. We're going to go up to our thing here. I'll tidy all this up in a minute, guys. Right. So we're getting the return value, which is a rotation. Then we're going to here, which we're going to do our other rotation. Right. I'm going to delete that. So these two lines should print the same thing. So now, yeah, we were doing that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And we can remove that for a kickoff and then hit compile. Right, now, as I said, these two numbers should be exactly the same. Right, because now we are basically recreating this using this. This is the C++ version. This is a blueprint function version. Okay. Similarly, how we did this, we were using this code here to remap, and this is now calc time intensity curve, and we're using this C++ function to do all of this plus whatever was in here, which is this. Okay, so because it's getting done on tick, this should speed up our operation time. we're getting the right value there, etc, etc. Everything's going good. It's printing out a load of crap, which means that for some reason it's still printing out stuff, and I don't know where, but we'll work it out. Okay, so this was green, this was the blue, these were the same. Basically what we can do now is we can do that, then we can take that out and that out, right? We can basically move these out the way and delete them for the moment, and that. Okay, and then we can move this to here. And we can run it. And we are still getting some of these, so it's still printing out some rotation. Now I don't know where that's coming from. We'll wait to see if we can find it. Unless right, it doesn't look like we're printing anything out. Right, so we'll rebuild that and find out. Thanks for the question though, SEU. It's always good to get some interaction. So the question now is, where's the weird print strings coming from? Right. Right, there we go. So that was kind of weird, but anyway. Right. Now, this isn't going to give us a good... So, if we do it as standalone game, right? It's kind of looking like our... I mean, these optimizations, right, it might not end up making our day-night cycle blueprint any faster regarding the frame rate, right, because it might be all GPU bound, but it does mean that we'll not be tying up as much in the game thread, right, which is always a good thing, right, because for everything that we can actually put in C++ in the game thread and speed it up, then it's going to give us more time to play with within the game, right? So if we check the stats here, right, our actual game thread is about running between 7 and 8. Okay, which is good. Between 7 and 8 is going to give us 120 frames a second of a possible overhead. So if what I do now, right, is plug this in here, and plug this directly in here, and plug this directly in here, this gives us our, actually this is going to go in here, and yes, it's going to have a story. In fact, it is a pretty story game. So we're going to press save that now, and this should be the slower version, right? So I don't know if just changing these 3 functions and macros is going to actually make a huge difference that we can see or not. But it might. It might. And as we do this and we get better at C++ syntax and the functions that we need to use, we should be able to do this faster and implement it in more places, right? Because we have some major calculation done on the pawn and stuff like that, when it's calculating out the head positions and stuff like that. Right, so start FPS, and start unit. And you can't really see a difference, in fact. Yeah, it's about the same, getting 7.61. Okay. So basically this goes to here. Hey higher beast, how you doing? This goes into time. This goes into here. That goes into there. And this goes into here. We can compile that. Right? And then we're going to leave these, oh, actually we'll take these 2 out. Right. then we can basically take these two out as well. Because we don't need them anymore. So we can save that and build. Now you got to remember I'm working on a alternative version of this, so that I'm not screwing it up. I want to get a bit more comfortable with C++ again before I start actually doing it in the main project. Oh no, we're not using that, are we? Apparently we are. Right, that gets go. That goes. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. We'll leave these ones in as actually that can go. We've got. I just want a 2-string. This one can go. Right. I want the sanitized float just for future reference. But I'm just going to show you another place where this could be very helpful. Right, now, it can be very helpful in here because this has got, it's basically got code all over the place that is all just calculations. So we can really, well, I hope it's going to make a difference, but I can tidy this up now. Right, so what we can do is we can duplicate that. Right. Then we can move that. Then we can move this down to here. And we can start straightening this up. Okay. And then this will be in here. Then we can move these over a bit. Didn't want to do that. Can move that to there. Then move these down here. And that's all a bit more tidy, don't you think? Right. Now you can see there that we can also do all of this stuff. We've already got this one, right? We've done this one already, right? These are all just setting parameters, so I'm not particularly worried about that. Right? And this is just one of these, by the way. Right? If we look... Well, that's the one we just did. Right? But if we look at the event graph, this is just this one. Right? So if that is the case, then we've got this as well to do, which I'm going to... Yep, this is kind of the same. Right? So we've got very similar. We can do all this. But... And then we've got this one. Not too bad, but I suppose we could do it. Okay. And this is because we need to refresh this. Okay, there we go, much tidier. There we go. So if we go back and look at this, we've got this. Right, more calculations. Right, more calculations. Okay. And basically more calculations. So that's another one we could look at. Then we've got this one. Again. And then yeah, it takes a while. These things take a while, right? To learn anything. They're complicated subjects. They're not just, you know, pick it up and you'll be a master of it in a day or two. It just doesn't work like that. Right, the other one I was going to show you, right, was in fact in the pawn. Right, and it's in the new animation pawn. And it's in the animation blueprint. Right, this is the one that sprung to mind as soon as I saw this. I wanted to do something with it regarding the C++, right? And it's kind of that. Is it this one? Yeah. You see this one? Right? Calculations, more calculations, blah blah. Right? So this one was one that stuck out. There was another one that was even kind of more obvious than that. I can't remember which one it was, to be fair. Alright, no worried about that one. Possibly do something with this as well. So you can tell this might be another one, but these are all over the place, right? As far as some of these blueprints go that we're using from the marketplace, right? So that's the idea basically, is to look into these and find out what's suitable for moving to C++, etc, etc, and basically taking it from there. Right, but if you're enjoying the stream, hit like and subscribe, I appreciate it. I'm going to go and grab a quick cigarette, so I shall be back in 4 minutes. Check out the description for links to the Kickstarter, plus Discord and Patreon, my previous game on Steam, and our website. And I shall be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, folks. Okay, we're back. Now, do you guys want me to cover how came into this project after it was set up, right? But the way I implement C++, right? And I'll show you the way I would normally do it, okay? So, here's the thing. I'm going to create a folder, right? Just as a clean folder for us to have a look at, right? So we'll call it test CPP, right? Now, what I would normally do is, say I wanted to create an actor or a character or a pawn or whatever it is, right? The first thing I would do is I would go up and create a new C++ class. Right, now, say it was a character, right? So it's going to be a monster, so it's going to be a character. Okay, what I would do was create my character and say it was going to be a troll, right? Or in fact, I would probably call this CPP base monster, right? And that would store the base attributes of the monster, right? So the next thing I would do is I would create an identical folder, right, in here. So then I would create this class. Hey Tarkov Mike, how you doing? I'm just showing some C++ stuff. Not that I know an awful lot about it, but this is the basics of setting up, or the way I do it, right, is for setting up monsters and the like, or a pawn or a thing. You basically create the C++ class first, right? You let it to do its thing, and it will probably, or I don't know if this will work for you guys or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but it will come up with fail, right? But it hasn't really. All we need to do is say no to that, open this up, reload all, right? And then we've now got this test CPP with our base monster. Okay, so what I would do is leave that as it is, leave that as it is, and then compile it. Now, you'll notice here now, in here, we've not got anything until this compiles, right? But once this compiles, we should have a new folder with our CPP classes in it, right? And the way you try to do it is do the same sort of folder setup if you can. And we've just got to wait for that. Hi Mustafa, how you doing? Oh yeah, Hired Beast, thank you. I quite like the early teaser as well. It's quite nice. Right, so this has failed. Okay, so we're going to have to go in here and see where it fails. Now, I'm going to guess that it's because we need to put that. Right, so if we scroll down, PQR test CPP. Okay, and then now if we build it, you'll soon get used to this, right? Like this particular error when you build it, you'll realise that I need to put // at the front of that so that it finds it properly. And then once you start coming across that error every time, you just do it automatically. Weird one, but as I said, sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't. Don't know why. Not a genius at C++, that's for sure. Right, but this generally becomes a faster process the more you do it. Right, so that's now done, okay? So I think we have to compile here to bring it up here. And then there's a couple of ways that you can create the actual blueprint on top of this. And here we go, see? Here it's here. Now, the way you can do it is you can right click on that and create a blueprint class based on this. That's one way to do it. And what it'll do is ask you what you're going to call it and then where you're going to put it. So we would normally put it in our test CPP folder. Right, now remember that's this one here. This one. Not this one, because that's under C++, right? And then we'd rename it to, you know, BP base monster, right? But there's another way to do it. Right? And the other way to do it is to basically create blueprint class, open up all classes, and put CPP base monster. Okay? And then we can say blueprint, we can say base monster. Except we really need to rename that. Right? So now everything that's in this everything that's in here, right, is available to our blueprint. So we can prove that, right? We can say u function, right? And then we say blueprint callable. Then we say static void update monster, right? Then we can quick actions, create definition, don't think we need the static there actually, but yep, there we go. We have this already. This is our new function here. Okay, so we don't put anything, right? But we can now build it. Okay. And as I said, this is just for starting off, getting started in C++. And this is just showing you can, so you can now do your functions, your properties, you can update stuff. So you can basically do your health and all of that stuff. Okay, you can make it, so your properties, you can make them available to the blueprint, or you can make some of them available to the blueprint. You can set some of them up by like typing numbers into the blueprint, and that will set it up in your base class type thing. So that's built, right? So now if I go into here, right, what you'll notice is if I go to event graph, right, I can say update monster. Okay. And now you'll notice that that was nowhere in the blueprint, but it was in our C++. Okay, so if I was going to use C++ extensively in a project, every time I created an actor or a pawn or a blueprint function library or whatever, I would create the C++ version of it first, right, by going to the file, then new C++ class, then creating it there, and then I would create my monster or function library or pawn or whatever from that. Okay, now what you got to remember is you can turn, right, you might be thinking you've got this here, right, this is the H file, right, but if you look in the C, this file here, right, you'll notice it's got a begin play and a super begin play. Well, super begin play is just like parent. Okay, so in theory we could take that out if we were never if this didn't have a parent. And then also you'll notice here it said set this character to call tick every frame. You can turn this off if you don't need it, right? So if you're not using tick, which hopefully by now you'll understand that you don't want to, where possible, right, you might want to switch this to false, right, and then you won't be doing this. Okay, but yeah, that's how I basically set up a very first C++ class. Okay, and as you see, that works perfectly. And as I said, you can expose these to the blueprint, right? Let's try it. I can't remember how to do it, right? But we'll try it. because we like trying things, and if we're going to do it, then we probably want to do it, right? And we're going to try and remember off the top of our heads. I probably won't, but we'll try. Right, so we'll go into H file, and this isn't going to be a function or anything. So what we'll do is we'll say u property, and I believe it's blueprint is it editable? Then let's see, bool is dead. This is something like this. It's like blueprint editable or blueprint editable anywhere or something like that. I can't exactly remember the exact syntax for it, but we'll try that. And then if it doesn't work, we'll look it up. Right, but as I said, when you start using the blueprints, you'll get used to the syntax and you'll get used to these values that you need to use for if you want it in the blueprint or you don't want it in the blueprint, or where to put it in public, protected or private and stuff. Right, we'll soon find out. Ah, didn't like that. 45. Is that in? Well, it's not in there either. So I'm guessing this is not quite right. I don't know why. Let's see. It's a blueprint read write. Oh. Blueprint read write. So got something to look at here, but it doesn't really give you any examples. I'm hoping this one will. Okay. Well, apparently this is not right either. Well, there's various ones you can use, right? We can say edit anywhere. Right. Interesting. Right, is that going to do it? Yeah, there we go. So now I can't remember where you... There, it's up here, see? So you can see there that we've got our variable and we can set it in the blueprint. But you'll notice that the blueprint has no variables, but we have got it here. Now obviously at this point you can set it up in your as a structure and all that, so you can do your structures, blah 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 blah, and use that. But you can see here that we can set this up in our thing. We could also drop this into the scene, and you should notice that we have it available here. So it's not in our blueprint, but it's in our C++ class, right? And then we can obviously set it or get it, etc, etc, when we want, right? We can say is dead. Okay, we can't do that. Yeah, I don't think we've got setters and getters, right? So we would need to do setters and getters for that. But this is your is dead. Okay. Now can we show inherited variables, right? So the question is it in here somewhere? No, apparently not. So I believe we need to do a setter and a getter. Right. So basically we'd go in here and we'd create a function to set that is dead, and then we'd do another function to get it, right? And then once we do that, we'd be able to access it here, and we'd be able to access it in here. Just wondering. Okay, whatever. But yeah, I think we'll leave that there for today. We've learned a bit about our C++ classes, and you guys might want to try that, just as a little exercise, right? Just try and create your class, create a function or a property or both, then create your blueprint on top of that, and that'll be you started on the C++ adventure. Okay, so if you've enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe. Check out the description for loads of links to everything, including our Kickstarter, Discords, Patreon, previous game on Steam and website. And I shall see you tonight at 8 PM Central. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and bye bye for now.